How will we crack the code in our economy and reshape the social economic system in the favor of the people that will reform the patriarchal age and bring more currency, circulation, and wealth into the community? So the community represents the Renaissance. We are more brilliant when we are sharing our ideas, when we are collaborating. The whole patriarchal age created a social economic situation for everyone that is competitive, where we are constantly kind of looking at each other as sort of rivalries, as we're looking at each other in a state of separation, in a state of this is mine, that is yours, in this idea that we have to survive and that it's all on us and we can't trust the people around us. So we all kind of isolated ourselves. And in doing so, our creativity started to lower, right? Our creativity is highest when we are in collaboration, when we are sharing and caring and nurturing each other. But when we're in this kind of divide and conquer, my religion versus your religion, all that kind of aggression, all it does is just lower our creativity and create all this kind of this stuckness, right? This trauma and this kind of karma where we're caught in this kind of poverty, this desperation, this fear that our money will be taken away, this fear that we're going to be deceived or manipulated. And I think before this whole patriarchal age, I think when we're looking more at tribal based kind of economy situation, not a global type of economy thing, I feel that we had more a sense of creativity, but also like a sense of being able to be prosperous prosperous within yourself, within your craftsmanship. And I think, we know a lot of ideas, really brilliant ideas, are basically kind of taken and they're used to kind of bring greater wealth to the already wealthy. So I think a part of the slave system within the economy that keeps the people really kind of stuck is when we're not educating people on finances. I'm sure we can all agree, regardless of where you are living in the US, that I'm sure we've never taken a class in finance. Probably, our parents didn't talk about money. We didn't really discuss about student debt and what that really means. We didn't really discuss about overall debt with the credit cards and all these things. We've probably seen our parents have all these credit cards. And overall we probably didn't even know how to balance the checkbook. We basically only were taught to just how to get a job. We're not really taught about, because a lot of these billionaire type of small group of people, they obviously teach their kids about not just about how to get a job, but also about investments, stocks, about how to be a businessman, a businesswoman. What does it mean to make deals? What does it mean to be creative and know how to earn sort of profit off of your creativity? And I think we're already seeing it now as people are really starting to recognize, okay, I need to get out of this debt stuff, especially when it comes to student loans. I feel like that's a biggie, because it's like, yeah, you may, have this vision for, you want to get this particular, career pathway. But if you're like 50,000, I knew someone who's like $100,000 in debt. It's like, you're just going to be worried about just get a job immediately out of college and just pay that down. And it probably it takes you years. And what it does is it drains your creativity, right? It drains your creativity because now you have to, like, you're not worried about, okay, I want to pursue this career that I went to school for, that I'm so passionate about, that I really want to become so excellent at. Now you're just like, okay, I'll just get any job just so I can, you know, get this debt down that is getting higher because I'm not paying it the way I should, right? That's all these kind of traps, right? And, we've been around the block a couple of times when it comes to this patriarchal age, through various centuries. And we've seen, high taxes, the French Revolution that led to just extreme, just revolting and all kinds of aggressions in reaction to that from the government. We've seen all kinds of, even the removal of the Cherokee Indians from the land, because there's gold and F it, we're just gonna, let them die and, move them, who cares, because we want to get this, we want to monopolize, we want to make this area, which might have gold, ours. The same thing with California with the gold rush, all of this indigenous people, where it was legal to hunt them down and to kill them. It was illegal. People were getting paid to do that. People were getting money to do that. And all because they wanted to own the land that the gold was on. So we've seen all kinds of things happen in just the centuries, right? When it comes to, another example, a personal example for me, that we've seen in many different kind of individuals. I think of like Leo Frank, who was a Jewish successful man who was unlawfully, sort of killed for basically, white men being, jealous or being upset that some kind of Jewish man was able to crack the code and to earn wealth, right? That was supposedly only for white men, right? So you've seen that where you see like a Jewish man or a African American man, all of a sudden he got wealth through his own efforts, and all of a sudden you just see like just it broken down, this person taken out or discredited or slander and all this kind of stuff. So this whole patriarchal age going, I live in the US, but we're basically the kind of descendants of the Europeans, so we take on a lot of the European like social economic idea, and a lot of it we know it just has a lot to do with keeping the wealth in a certain group, and not, it's like a secret club, right? And not letting anybody into that secret club except these chosen ones, right? We think of like the monarchy as in the chosen ones are like, you are the royal bloodline, you are the nobles, right? And nobody else can get into that group, right? And if you're not in that group, you're not going to be able to be creative in a way that you're able to actually generate wealth that isn't stolen from, that isn't all of a sudden like Nikola Tesla. You have these strange people come in and just take your work and say, oh, it's owned by the government now, or oh, it's ours, right? So I think what's happening as we continue to learn, right? Learn about, or get smarter, right? Get smarter about like, I feel like the student debt stuff, I feel like that will have to be, organized, okay? Especially over the next decade or so. We think about like free education. That's something, because of so much of the debt stuff for a lot of these young people, is keeping them very stuck, and then keeping the economy stuck, because these people are not really, they're not really progressing, right? They're not really progressing in a way that but I think keeping people just in the purchasing things, keeping people just in the, if I get this, I get that, that kind of hypnosis, right? And I think people are, as we move forward, are going to start to put more emphasis on their relationship with the law of attraction, their relationship with manifestation, and their relationship with their own mind and their creativity. And I think as we really start to move away from like this discrimination, this segregation, this kind of withholding of information, and this kind of competition we have with each other, right? And we start to join a community, I feel like there's going to be a whole renaissance that's going to happen. And when that happens, people are just going to just have major breakthroughs. They're not just going to be just naive about when they're about the economy, just naive about these kinds of traps, right, that you get hooked into, but really it doesn't really get you anywhere, right? It just keeps you in that kind of slave mentality. So I think as we continue to, I feel like it's shaky right now and shaky all across this planet, all the economies. I mean, the U.S. is probably very different if you lived in a different country, but I think this is a part of the shift out of the patriarchal age and into the Aquarian age, which is going to basically bring a lot of reform just naturally through generations, to what we think of social economic situation. And we're already sort of relinquishing racism, especially here in the US. And we're already starting to kind of get out of this kind of hierarchical caste system where sort of privilege continue to get certain opportunities and other people don't. They're starting to see more scholarships, more communities coming together where many people are included, not just certain people. And just overall, the as people are sharing their inspiration, sharing their creativity, it's really bringing a sense of encouragement to many people to really continue to move forward. And I think that's all that we can do, because there's so much work that's happening on this planet that's necessary. And it's such a wonderful time to be on this planet right now, because we're going to be the ones that actually experience the massive shift out of this centuries, maybe thousands of years of being very stubborn, very set in this way of like living on this planet. And we're actually going to see within our lifetimes a shift into a very, very different social economic situation. But there's going to be resistance, right? There's going to be resistance. We already see that resistance, right? From old rulers, from old monarchs, or whatever you want to call them, a part of an old system, right? Old patriarchal, who are very stubborn, right? Who could be very still racist on the down low, right? Who could be still having slaves on the down low, right? And as these new leaders start to come in with new ideas that are that have no sense of racism or no sense of whatever, slaves or something like that, it's just going to present a complete new philosophy in the way that we relate to each other, in understanding that the real creativity, the real renaissance is in the community, is in the people actually learning from each other in a way that in a way of integrity, in a way of authenticity, right? And the old patriarchal age was not about that. It was not about the sharing and the caring of authenticity and integrity. It was just about pure survival, pure like Darwinism, the survival of the fittest, that kind of Roman type of gladiator, fighting each other type of thing. But that's all going to shift, because we're going to have more of a mind. We're not just going to be mindlessly just buying into things that are traps, right? We're going to start to be more mindful and share that mindfulness with each other. And that over time is going to really create people who are smarter, and that people who are not so easily trapped, right? And also have a creativity that is very, very influential in really helping humanity, or helping the community to really advance its own understanding of the mind, it's understanding of wealth, it's understanding of how to be successful in a way of circulating, right? And the circulating and inspiring and kind of moving that idea of wealth into a sort of shared access so that many people can start to kind of experience that as well, which is very different from the past where, we didn't really share anything because we were so in survival in a nasty way with each other. But that's all going to shift because we're going to see that we must move beyond that type of way of living, because that fighting is just going to is not going to get us anywhere. It's just we're not going to make it on this as humans. So it's a necessity for us to become more creative, and for us to become mindful, and for us to be able to really learn the laws of the universe, and learn, the wealth, and how to create that for ourselves. And people are going to be drawn to that and the teachings of that. And it's going to completely expose, and it's going to completely just, relinquish any kind of blocks or barriers in the mind that have been kind of blocking us from the knowledge of wealth, or the knowledge of how to basically shape and structure a social economic situation for people.